Virginia Community Development Corporation started in 1989. A guy named Ralph Nodine, who was the former CEO, he was instrumental in setting up the structure that would really lead to all the dramatic impacts made over the next 25 years. And the first property to benefit from that investment was Monticello Vista Apartments in Charlottesville. Since that time, VCDC has raised about $440 million in 30 separate equity funds. And that's helped to create 7,000 homes in about 150 communities in virtually every corner of the state. We don't really shy away from the difficult deals. In fact, that's where we excel. We have a really experienced and talented staff, and they're committed to overcoming the obstacles that would otherwise knock those deals off track. By the involvement of VCDC, a lot of developments that wouldn't otherwise have occurred are able to come to fruition and really make dramatic local impacts.
They're very knowledgeable about the tax credit program, and they also have staff that is very knowledgeable about construction. And Cedar Grove was somewhat complicated. We built it on a very small site, and we included things such as geothermal heat pumps. We appreciate the fact that we can have Graham or other people at VCDC look over our pro forma and give us advice and input of things to make it better. They really help us the whole way through the project, from the beginning when it's just, an idea, the whole way through compliance when they come in to look at our tenant files.
We've been an investor both on the equity side and the debt side with VCDC for 25 years. We like them because they are as big as we need them to be in terms of expertise and project management, but they're also as small as we would need them to be for that personal, high-touch environment. When we have a question about any given project in Virginia or the surrounding states, we know we can get answers right away.
We worked with VCDC originally when we acquired the property because it was over 20 years old at that time, and bought the property, acquired it, used various funds to make that all happen. And then unfortunately, about 2 years after that, we had a very localized flood here in Newport News. Had over 12 inches of rain in just a matter of a few hours. I got a call on a Saturday morning that the property had flooded. The fire department was out here and bringing our elderly residents out in boats. So VCDC worked with us hand in hand to start the process as quickly as possible, deal with the immediate needs, and then go on to look at how we were going to refinance the property to make sure that we had the resources available to do the massive rehab and repairs that we had to make from having the flood here.
The Crossings has really been a godsend for the community of Charlottesville in terms of impacting the lives of the residents of the Crossings. The gentleman who, we'll call him Billy, who'd been out on the streets of Charlottesville for as long as anybody could remember. Just sort of a hardcore alcoholic, really been struggling for many years. He had been arrested 700 times on the streets of Charlottesville, mostly for drunken public, disorderly conduct, loitering, you name it. I mean, can you imagine having to go through that process 700 times? But also it's just a huge tax on our community and on our resources. We got him into the Crossings. It's really improved his life significantly. And I think about all the other people who now call the Crossings home, for whom it's really been a godsend. And if it weren't for organizations like VCDC and the other key partners, it never would have happened.
There's another story about the impact that affordable housing can make on a person's life. There's a story about a gentleman named Mark who was living on the streets of Charlottesville, homeless. He was struggling with alcoholism, and he was fortunate to be able to move into the Crossings at 4th and Preston. He tells a story about how he was constantly having to worry about what the weather was going to be. Where was he going to get his next meal? Where was he going to get his next night's sleep? Was he going to end up in the emergency room? Unfortunately, he's passed away. He's not with us anymore, but he didn't die anonymously. He was part of a community. He had neighbors, he had friends, he had responsibilities and purpose. he was able to die with dignity. Really, I think that we're still hitting our stride. We've accomplished quite a bit over the last 25 years, but there's still a lot to do. We're looking forward to writing the next chapter of our story, so we want to reflect on the past and recognize all the value that we've helped our local partners to create. We want to look to the future with a clear vision of our mission and to celebrate the impact that our accomplishments have made on individual lives and on communities all across the Commonwealth.